What is up, YouTube? That's here, bringing you guys a brand new Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee team building video. I haven't done one of these in about a week, but you know, I usually try to get at least one of these done a week, so here is a brand new team that completely changes the metagame. Hopefully you guys can use it in your own games. If you have any questions about this team after we make it, please leave those questions in the comments below, and I will answer every single one, no matter how big or small it is. I'll answer every single question you guys have in the comments. But without further ado, we're going to start making the team. I'm going to show you guys a really cool new team, a really creative team that really changes the way you play the game, and I think this is one of my favorite styles. This is going to be a hyper aggressive team, and we're going to be using a bunch of really niche Pokemon you don't see that often. So to start this team off, we're going to talk about its playstyle as we build it, but to start the team off, let's talk about what Pokemon are really popular leads right now. You saw in the last team that I did, I made like an Electrode lead to counter like Aerodactyls, to kind of like neuter Mewtwo's, and retreat against Gyarados. I have a very similar Pokemon that fulfills the same role that beats all those Pokemon, but works in a very different way. So we're going to start building the team here. And guys, remember, you guys can read right under me. It says there's links to Discord, links to my, follow the YouTube, links to the Twitch. All that stuff is in the description. If you guys want to learn more about Pokemon, get better at Pokemon, please follow those links in the description. But anyways, we're going to be starting off today with Jolteon. You may be wondering, why are you even using a Jolteon? What does Jolteon do? What does Jolteon bring to the team in terms of value? What makes Jolteon special? So we're going to talk about Jolteon. Let's first talk about its strengths and weaknesses in terms of typing. It's an electric type, and that means its only weakness is going to be ground. So as long as you know what can earthquake you, you're going to be pretty good, because there's not that many things that one-shot Jolteon unless it's super effective. So unless you're eating big earthquakes, stabbed earthquakes from things, you should be pretty good. So we're going to look at its moveset, and you're going to see what it actually brings to the table. So going into the summary here, we just want to start off. Note that we have to use a timid Jolteon. It doesn't really have to be timid per se, but it has to be speed-natured. It has to be speed-natured or it will not work. You got hasty, you got naive, those are okay, but I'd really recommend the timid nature so you can actually have a little bit of bulk. Timid is going to cut your attack and raise your speed, so you gotta have that timid. If you have modest or like some other random nature, like you can kind of do it, but this Pokemon really needs to have exactly this nature to work. So timid nature on the Jolteon. We're going to look at its moves here, and we can see it is a dual screen setter. It has Light Screen, Reflect, Thunder Wave, and Thunderbolt. So you're probably wondering, what are screens? Why are you even using this? Why aren't you using Shadow Ball? I'm going to talk about why we're not using Shadow Ball. I know before I even get into looking at the comments, there's going to be 5 comments saying, why don't you run Shadow Ball on Jolteon? And I promise you I will get to it. But here we go. We're going to look at Light Screen first. A Wondrous Wall of Light is put up to reduce damage from special attacks for 5 turns. That's what Light Screen does. Reflect does the same thing, but for physical attacks. So what it's going to do is it's going to create a type of barrier for your team that reduces all the damage you take from physical or special attacks. So Pokemon like Mega Mewtwo coming in with those big psychics, you cut that damage in half. It's no longer a problem. You can just set this up, nice and safe, break the wrist, walk away. They are neutered. They do not do any damage anymore. It's going to make your Jolteon, it's going to make your whole team, because it sets it for your team, not just for Jolteon. It's different from using like a Defense Core or an Amnesia. This sets it for your whole team. So if Jolteon gets KO'd, or if Jolteon switches out, you're still going to have these special defense and defense boosts. So you may think, that's not that big a deal. I want to use more offensive attacks, but remember, this team itself, I already described it as hyper offensive. These screens are going to be what you need to give your Pokemon the competitive edge to actually bulk out just one attack from any of your opponent's Pokemon and then just sweep them up. Also note that we have Thunder Wave in here. I think Thunder Wave is pre-Marino for speed control. Launches a weak jolt of electricity that paralyzes the target. Note that it's a 90% accuracy in this game. From previous gens, it used to be 100, and it's going to cut their speed, I think, in half, and it can always paralyze them. So it's going to make it so things like Mega Mewtwo, things like Aerodactyl, things that do outspeed your other very fast Pokemon are actually going to be speed crippled by the Thunder Wave. It's actually just a very good move. Some people have been talking about using Yawn in this slot, but I really think Thunder Wave is the best move, because like in certain situations, they just have that one Pokemon that outspeeds like 1 or 2 of your sweepers. Go in there, throw the Thunder Wave up. You know, they'll hit your Jolteon, you Thunderbolt them back, chunk them for a third, lose the Jolteon, send out your thing that checks them, and then you win. You know, like their one win condition just got neutered by Thunder Wave, or, you know, walled out by these screens. And last but not least, we have Thunderbolt. And note that we have Thunderbolt over Thunder. On Electrode, you had to run Thunder to deal the big damage versus Aerodactyls, but actually, against any Aerodactyl, like regular Jolly or Adamant Aerodactyl set, you're actually going to be able to one-shot with Thunderbolt. It has 112 to, I think, 126%. That's, you know, not using Eevees, not using anything like that. It's an automatic one-hit KO on Aerodactyl. Against Mega Aerodactyl, you do 94 to, I think, like 108%. So if they want to Mega Evolve with Aerodactyl, they can technically live the Thunderbolt. So against most Aerodactyl sets, if they have a very obvious Mega, like a Beedrill or like a Gengar maybe, or something that needs to be Mega, you know, you can get away with going for the Thunderbolt because they're not going to Mega. But against something that it could be Aerodactyl, Mega Aerodactyl, you might just want to set the Reflect up and let them set the rocks up, and then when they go for the Earthquake, if they even have it, they're going to be doing about half instead of just KOing you. So, very good lead against Aerodactyl, very good lead against Gyarados, very good lead against Mewtwo. Jolteon is a primo Pokemon right now. Base 130 speed, so it's like very fast. It speed ties Aerodactyl. Note that this is all speed ties for Aerodactyl. That's why I personally like using Electrode a little bit more, but we can assume they're going to go for rocks first most of the time anyways. So yeah, Jolteon, amazing Pokemon. For those of you guys that haven't really seen this Pokemon, give this thing a shot. You will not be disappointed. It is so good. These screens are amazing. So we're going to move on to the next Pokemon. Remember, we're talking about Jolteon. Oh wait, hold on. We're not moving on. Don't think I forgot. You're saying, why don't you use Shadow Ball? And I've been meaning to give this topic this type. I could make a whole video on this exact topic. Why don't I use Shadow Ball on Jolteon? It's super good against Mewtwo. It's super good against Alakazam, against Gengar. That's what everyone says. So Shadow Ball's an 80 base power move, right? Shadow Ball's an 80 base power move, which means if it's super effective, in its best case scenario, it goes up to 160. Thunderbolt, on the other hand, is a 90 base power move, and thanks to the same type attack bonus, or stab, it gets 45 base power, which is a 1.5 boost, to whatever it is. So it's going to go up to a 135. It's going to go up to a 135. So Shadow Ball being its best, at its most fullest potential, goes up to 160, but Thunderbolt to 135 against everything, like standard. And so you're not getting any KOs on anything with Shadow Ball. If you were to get a KO for that, like, you know, 25 base power increase, maybe it'd be worth it. But even after rocks on any of those Pokemon, you don't get a KO with Shadow Ball of using Timid Jolteon. So in this case scenario, it's just not worth it. The way I like to look at it, unless a move has 100 base power, or in certain case scenarios, like a 90, you never want to use those moves unless you stab them. So like Earthquake's a really good move to use, because Earthquake's super effective is a 200, and that means even if you have a really strong move that you stab, Earthquake's super effective is still a lot stronger than those moves. So Earthquake's one of those moves you still want to use. You know, Ice Beam can be one of those moves because it's like a 90. Thunderbolt can be one of those moves because it's a 90, goes up to 180. But moves like Fire Punch or Shadow Ball or like Air Slash, like, don't use those moves unless you stab them. I swear, I promise you, this is correct information. So if you guys have any questions about that, please, again, leave those in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer it in a much more lengthy detail. But we're moving on. Remember, Jolteon, its biggest weakness is those ground attacks, those pesky ground attacks. So, how do we deal with that? Well, we're going to get on with that in a little bit later on the team. We're actually going to add another ground weakness right now. We're actually going to start going into the whole dynamic of the team. So right now we have our screen setter. We have our solid lead Pokemon if we decide to lead with Jolteon. What we're going to be adding next is going to be our Mega Evolution. We're actually going to be using Mega Beedrill. This is not the right Beedrill. Where's my good Beedrill? Where's my boy? Where's my Beedrill boy? It's around here somewhere. I gotta find it. But yeah, we're using Beedrill. Is it this one? Yep. Cool. So yeah, we got Beedrill. So you may be thinking, what does Beedrill add to the team? Obviously it adds another ground weakness. But remember, this team is about hitting hard, hitting fast, run and gun, speed that we need to succeed. So we're going to look at Beedrill's moveset here and look at its stats. We are going to check summary. And note that we have to use a Jolly Beedrill. That's the one way that we outspeed Mewtwo's, Mega Mewtwo's, all that stuff. Mega Beedrill gets so fast. And remember, it is a poison bug type, so it's going to be having really big stabs on those two really offensive typings. So we're going to look at my moveset here. We're going to have Substitute, Drill Run, Poison Jab, and U-Turn. The whole point of this team is use multiple Pokemon with U-Turn. Like I said, it's like run and gun. U-Turn, for those who don't know, we're going to look at it here. It's a 70 base power move. After making the attack, so after dealing the damage, remember, we're going to be going first because we're pretty fast. The user rushes back and switches place with a party Pokemon. So the best case scenario for this situation is you have a screen up. You have one of your screens up, maybe both of them if best case scenario. You have Beedrill out there, and you're going to U-turn. You're not going to KO most things with U-turn unless it's super effective. And, you know, Beedrill has a lot of really good coverage moves. Drill Run hits those bulky rock types. U-Turn hits those psychic types. Poison Jab hits those grass types. Like, you have a lot of really good coverage, but more often than not, you're not going to be getting KOs, and Beedrill's pretty much a glass cannon. So the way you're going to play Beedrill is you're going to have your screens up, U-Turn, deal like 50-60%, hard switch into something, that we're going to show in the rest of the team. And you're using all sweepers in this team, so you're using a bunch of glass cannons. But remember, since you got those screens up, you're going to be able to take the switch-in hits, minimize the damage as much as possible. Like, let's say, you know, we're going to switch out in like a Starmie or something to block a Psychic attack. So Starmie, even if, like, is going to take reduced damage from Psychic, and it's going to let you pin them again, outspeed them again, and pretty much just continue to steamroll momentum and slightly tweak your board presence through the use of multiple U-turn Pokemon. So this whole team, I would call it a Volt Turn team. That's the similar core that you would call it from previous gens, but there's no Volt Switch in this game, so it's just a multiple U-turn team. Also note, Poison Jab, really good stab, 80 base power move. It can also poison. I think it has a 30% chance to poison. I could be wrong. Maybe someone correct me in the comments. But last but not least, we got Drill Run. And crashes the target while rotating its body like a drill. Critical hits land more easily. Note the one bad thing about this move is it's a 95% accuracy, but this is really good against those Mucks, against those Rhydons, you know, Pokemon that just wall the Poison Jab and the U-turn. So gotta have something. You're not gonna be fishing for one-shots with this move, but if they're about at like half or something like that, I gotta follow. That's what I get for using my stream setup for recording these videos. Someone just randomly came to my Twitch channel and followed. That's what happens when you follow on twitch.tv/THATSAplusONE. Maybe you guys can stop by live and make it happen for sure. What's this guy's name? Koza19. Appreciate it. I always say thank you. So yeah, Drill Run is really good. And last but not least, a lot of people would run X's or here because you don't always want a U-turn. But the way I've set up the team, I do always want to U-turn. I always want a U-turn. So the way it's going to work is if I send Beedrill out, they're assuming, he's probably going to U-turn. He might use Poison Jab. I'm going to switch in something to mitigate that damage and maybe pin the Beedrill. So if I send the Beedrill out, I know I'm going to go fast, pop that Mega Evolution, pop a sub. If they switch into something that like U-turn or Poison Jab would have done much damage against, but let's say I would love to Drill Run it twice, like a Muck, like a Rhydon, during the next turn, I'm going to use Drill Run. It's going to do over half. They're going to break my sub. I'm going to Drill Run them again. And so you see, like, having substitute in that exact situation is going to let me get the KOs that I need to succeed. And they're right back into the same spot, but now they're down a Pokemon that they were going to use to actually wall the Beedrill. So it's actually really, really good. Beedrill is one of the best Megas in the game. I know you guys have been asking for it for a while. So here is my team using Mega Beedrill, and it's only going to get even better as we add even more Pokemon to it. So right now, let's look at our team. Let's look at our little team. We have Jolteon and Beedrill. We have big weaknesses to ground. We have a little bit of a weakness to Psychic here because Beedrill is, it's really, really fast, but it's really, really frail. We got a couple glass cannons here. So again, our big weaknesses right now are like ground. Beedrill's a little bit weak to rock, I guess, and fire. So like, you know, we gotta add some more Pokemon to kind of stabilize this out. So when you get to this point in the team, right? When you get to this point in the team building process, when you have Jolteon and Beedrill, and you're like, man, what do I add now? I want to build teams, but I don't know what to add. It's a really safe bet to add something that has Stealth Rocks at this point. If you don't know what to add, you know, I'm a Stealth Rocks user, add one of those. So we're going to be adding Aerodactyl to the team. Look at the dynamic, it changes. So we're taking out some of our ground weakness by adding a flying type. We're not really helping the rock weakness, but we're, again, adding so much speed to the team. Speed is the most important stat in Pokemon. If you don't believe me, it really is. If you're not first, you're last, and I want to go first. So we're going to add Aerodactyl. You guys have seen me use this set before. Again, this Pokemon can also go Mega. And we're not really going to because we have Mega Beedrill. It's kind of telegraphed here. But again, let's just look at these three Pokemon. Again, I said we really would like to lead with Jolteon most of the time. This team actually, believe it or not, these are the two Pokemon on the team that are weak to Stealth Rocks, I think. But other than that, I could care less if my opponent sets up Stealth Rocks. Like, please take your turn to set up Stealth Rocks. I'll set up a screen. Like, I'll KO you with a Thunderbolt if you want to set up those rocks, and I'll take that lead that I need to succeed because I don't plan on switching that much unless I actually have to. So, yeah, let's look at this board. We have three Pokemon that could actually be a lead. If we're looking at this from a team preview aspect, our opponents aren't really going to know what we're going to lead with. They're going to look at this and they're like, I guess he wants to set up rocks, but he can also just lead Beedrill and U-turn out for free into something he likes. Or he can lead with Jolteon. Jolteon's a really fast Pokemon too. We have three of the fastest Pokemon in the game as our lead here. And remember, guys, we're not using Mewtwo's. We're not using like minimized hacks. We're playing completely standard like Smogon tiering. I know some of you guys hate that Smogon word, but like we're playing completely fair. We're not breaking any tier rules. We're just playing fair. So we're gonna look at the Aerodactyl moveset and nature for those of you guys that don't really know this stuff. Again, Aerodactyl has to be Jolly. You gotta go Jolly on this thing. It's so important. Has to have that speed. You can get away with like Naive and Hasty. I know you can, but you really want to go Jolly on this Pokemon every single time. You're going to need Taunt, you're going to need Stealth Rocks. Note that I'm running Earthquake and, of course, Rock Slide. But Stealth Rocks is the main reason why I'm running this Pokemon. Flying typing really helps. I think you need 2 to 3 Taunt Mons on every single team, for those who don't know what Taunt does. The target is taunted into a Rage that allows it to only use attacking moves for 3 turns. So, no Sleep Powders, no Minimize, no Stealth Rocks, no Thunder Wave, no Calm Minds, no nothing like that. They can only attack, and if I'm faster than you and I use Taunt, you skipped your turn. Like, if I taunted you and you tried to Sleep Powder me, it'll say, like, the opposing Pokemon can't use Sleep Powder because they're taunted. So, it's really, really good. It makes Aerodactyl one of the best Pokemon in the game. I would say Aerodactyl is probably the best, like, actual Pokemon that's not, like, you don't need to Mega with this thing. It's not a legendary, but, like, this thing commands so much field dominance, and I think players that correctly, use their Aerodactyl, don't just leave with it and lose it as Stealth Rocks, like, use their Aerodactyl all game correctly. Those are the players that really have the skills to pay the bills. So, if we're looking again at the board, remember, we have Beedrill, Jolteon, Aerodactyl. Like I said, we're kind of weak to, like, ground attacks, Earthquake, so, like, Pokemon like Rhydon, again, Pokemon like Muck kind of like wall us out, so that's why I have Earthquake on this thing. A lot of people like saying, you need Crunch, but remember, Crunch is one of those 80 base power moves, just like Shadow Ball. You're not picking up KOs with those things. You're not picking up KOs, even if it's super effective. Like, your stab moves are just as strong. Like, a stabbed Rock Slide is almost as strong as a super effective Crunch would be. So, again, Earthquake has the skills to pay the bills. It's good against Rhydons. It's good against Mucks. It's neutral against, like, Venusaurs and stuff like that. Earthquake's just a standard move, and it helps me cover up for my team's personal weaknesses. Other moves you could use here are Crunch. I've used Sub in the past. I've used Roost. Another one that I've seen that I like a lot, believe it or not, is actually Wing Attack, because it's a 60 base stab, which means it goes up to 90, and if it's super effective, it goes to 180 on, like, Venusaurs. It's going to be an automatic one-shot on Parasect, so I'd love to see more people using Wing Attack on Aerodactyl, actually, but Earthquake serves exactly what we need to succeed in this team. And, yeah, we're going to move on to the next Pokemon. The next Pokemon that we are adding to our super fast running gun team. You guys are not going to see this one coming. You are not. Look at all the Pokemon on this board. It's not Dugtrio. Go a little bit to the right. It's going to be Primeape. We're adding Primeape to the team. Look at this team. We've added a Primeape to it. Holy moly. So let's look at our team now. We have Jolteon, Ground Weakness, Beedrill, Fire, Psychic, Rock. Oh, it grounds neutral, but, like, you can't really eat that many attacks. Aerodactyl's like Ice, Electric, Rock, stuff like that. Primeape's bringing another Psychic weakness to the team. Like, it's bringing another Psychic weakness. Like, we're pretty weak to Psychic. Good thing most of our Pokemon outspeed most of those Psychic users. Like, we outspeed the Alakazams. We outspeed those Psychic Gengars. We outspeed pretty much everything other than the Mewtwo's. But, Beedrill outspeeds it, and I think, like, Aerodactyl and Jolteon can hold their own. So, Primeape, why are you actually using Primeape? So, Primeape's going to be a base 95 speed, so we're going to have to go Jolly Nature on this guy. Another follow. Yo, pretty popular guy. I should probably disable that while I'm recording these videos, but, Polar Machini. People just follow the Twitch channel all day. But yeah, so we're using a Jolly Primeape, base 95. So one of the reasons why we're doing this is we want to outspeed all those base 100s that are, special attack and attack base boosting stats. So it's going to outspeed, like, Charizards, Zapdoses. Like, those are two really, like, popular Pokemon. Going to outspeed all those Venusaurs, Blastoises, all those just random Pokemon. Gonna outspeed Gyarados. Like, we're sacrificing a little bit of attack to go Jolly, but it's gonna make us so much more safer in the long run. I think we also outspeed base 110s, like Gengar and Ninetales. Ninetales is 109. That's our, special attack boosted nature. So, like, I actually think that Primeape's really, really good right now. So, Primeape, why are we actually using Primeape? What does Primeape bring to the table? Primeape can learn, like, every single TM in the game, almost. And Primeape also gets access to moves like Encore. We're not using Encore, but we're going to come back to that later. So this is our moveset. It's going to be another Taunt user. Remember, like I said, you want 2 to 3 Taunt users in every single team. You want to always be able to be like, I'm going to lead with Taunt. And you can't stop me. You can't set up, rocks, no nothing. Like, I'm in charge. Taunt. This is the second U-turn Pokemon in our team.
Right.
That's the reason. Another follow. Wow. What is this, guys? Here shits. I don't even know what that is, but I'll take the follow. I wonder why we're getting so many follows right now. Like, I'm not even online. You may think that I'm recording this. I'm not recording. I'm sorry, I'm not live. I'm just recording. But anyways, Taunt. You want so many Taunt Pokemon. It's so important. Taunt is the best move in the game, I swear. You guys have seen it in the videos. U-turn, again, that's the whole point of the team. Run and gun, U-turn to continually gauge control. Like, let's say I send out Primeape. and you're going to expect a fighting attack. So you're going to switch to your Psychic type, right? You're going to switch to your Starmie. You're going to switch to your Gengar, or your Mewtwo, or your Mew. And remember, Mew's base 100, so Prime is going to outspeed if we had Speed Nature, which we do. Yeah, U-turn super effective, and it's going to let us regain that board position. They're going to want to switch to their Mew. I'm going to U-turn you, hit you for 40%, and then send out my Mega Beedrill, and now you're pinned. And then I know you're going to switch again. If I've had Rocks up, you're doing all this switching, I'm popping a sub. You know how behind you are? Just because I have U-turn, which just lets me regain field pressure every single turn. Note that Primeape's a fighting type, right? It's just a solid fighting type, but it doesn't really learn superpower. I don't want to use like Karate Chop, Low Kick, Brick Break. I don't want to use any of those moves. We're actually going to go with Ice Punch or Earthquake, and I put a lot of thought in these last two moves. I kind of wanted to put Encore on it, and I just realized that Encore is better used in doubles, and it's just not really all that great here. Sure, it helps stop setup moves. Like, what if you use like Sleep Powder and I were to taunt you? So you obviously have to use like Mega Drain or something like that next turn. If I'm talking about like a Venusaur. So let's say like a Mega Venusaur, I taunt it, it goes Sleep Powder. It's not gonna work. If I were to Encore it into Sleep Powder, it's like completely boned again. Like, it can't do anything. Like, it's super, super good. We'll get into more teams like that a little bit later on in the meta. But let's look at the two moves I did choose. Let's actually open up our handy dandy notebook. Let's open up our handy dandy Pokemon Pokedex Kanto guide. And I'm just going to read you guys some of the moves Primeape gets in case you guys are wondering what move sets to put on your own Primeapes. I actually think this is the best one. And I'm pretty proud of this move set because I think it has really, really good coverage even though we're not using a stab move. This is one of the few Pokemon where I can actually recommend not using a stab move. It's just because he doesn't really get that many good ones. Let me actually find Primeape here. I really like Primeape, though. Primeape is such a cool Pokemon. Such a cool Pokemon, if I can actually find it in the Pokedex. There we go. Primeape. Bam. Primeape. So, Primeape gets Encore through Heart Skill. Focus Energy is always good. It learns Taunt. Like, it learns the U-turn. Screech is then a really good option. Thrash and Outrage are both really, really good. Headbutt. Let's see. Headbutt. Brick Break. Iron Tail. Where's its tail? It learns Iron Tail. I actually really thought about using Iron Tail over Ice Punch to check Aerodactyls, but it's not a one-shot, so it's not great. Iron Tail is only really good against Aerodactyl and Clefable at the moment. I guess a low on Ninetales too, but you don't really need it. So Iron Tail is a really cool move, but I do not recommend it just yet. Rock Slide was what we were originally going to use over Ice Punch. I'll talk about why I chose Ice Punch in just a moment. It gets Thunder Punch, Poison Jab, Bulk Up, Fire Punch, Earthquake, all that good stuff. It also gets like a bunch of the special attacks, like Thunderbolt and stuff like that. You're never going to use those, but Prime gets a lot of really, really good just attacks. And so why are we using Ice Punch Earthquake? Again, like I said, my team is a little bit weak to setup mons that are susceptible to Earthquake, like Alolan Muck, for example. Like, we're pretty walled by Alolan Muck. Venusaur also does a lot of damage to us. Aerodactyl also really hits us kind of hard, so I wanted to use Rock Slide Earthquake. That was my original plan, but I looked at it, and I'm like, man, I want Rock Slide Earthquake because I want to be able to one-shot Charizards. I want to be able to one-shot legendary birds like Moltres and Articuno. And I just realized that Ice Punch works against almost all the legendary birds and Aerodactyl. It does like the same against Aerodactyl as Rock Slide would. They're like the same base power. And Ice Punch works against Venusaur. And so that's like, you know what? I'm just going to use Ice Punch. If they switch in the Venusaur, which they should be switching in Venusaur if I send in a Primeape, they're going to expect a fighting attack. They're going to switch in their Poison type to wall it. I'm going to Ice Punch after Rocks. It's a 2-shot. It does like 47 to 55. So like 2 Ice Punches and Stealth Rocks damage is a 1-shot on Venusaur. That's super, super good. I can always just come out and just U-turn. I can send Primeape out, usually safely U-turn into something else. Remember, if I got those screens up, all my Pokemon are going to be able to bulk out that damage. Also, against most Pokemon, Earthquake's going to be your strongest attack. 100 base power, super effective against a lot of stuff. Do not sleep on the power of Earthquake. So Primeape, really underrated Pokemon, I think. Primeape is like super underrated. I think it's one of the best Pokemon right now. And more people should use it. More people should definitely use it. It learns so many good moves. And I think it's super swag. Like, how many of you guys have actually seen anyone ever use a Primeape? So let's look at our team. What do we actually have? We have a couple big weaknesses right now. We got, you know, we do take a lot of damage from ground attacks, right? We do take a lot of damage, but we actually take a lot of damage from psychic attacks. I think psychic attacks are probably our biggest problem right now because you have Primeape and Beedrill, which takes super effective, but like Aerodactyl and Jolteon, while we outspeed those Pokemon, we almost get one-shotted back from the Psychic, and if there are like rocks up, a lot of Pokemon can really threaten us with Psychic attacks. So instead of going for a Psychic Resist, we're actually going to go for a Psychic Nullification. We're going to be adding in a Alolan Persian. We're adding in a Alolan Persian to the team. Remember, this is a solo Dark type. This is different from regular Persian. You guys have probably heard me talk about this Pokemon a lot. We're using a timid Alolan Persian, and for those guys that don't know, dark types take immune damage from psychic attacks. It's like how flying types are immune to ground attacks. We're using a timid one. We're actually using a special attacker one, and what's weird about this Persian set is actually it's gonna be our one setup mon. It's very niche. I'm gonna be wanting to save this every single game until there's only 3 or 4 Pokemon left that can't really deal with it. Like this Pokemon is really good against Gyarados. This Pokemon is pretty decent against most things. We don't get its moveset here. We have another taunt user. That's the 3rd taunt user hitting that perfect. Half of the team can taunt and the other half can one-shot anything that it needs to. I absolutely love it. So we have Taunt, Nasty Plot, Stab, Dark Pulse, and Thunderbolt as a special attacker. Now, it's pretty fast. It's one of the faster Pokemon in the format. I think all of our Pokemon, other than Primeape, have like over base like 115 speed. I think Persian's probably the slowest Pokemon on the team at base like 115. But since we're timid, we're faster than everything. We're always going to be faster than Gengar. We're always going to be faster than almost every single Pokemon. The only things that are really threatening us are Aerodactyls, Alakazams, and Mewtwo's. And like we're pretty much building a team to exclusively beat those Pokemon. So Persian's really weird in that, you know, what you're going to want to do every time is if we see their setup mon, we come out, bring out the Persian, we taunt it. And they're like, oh man, I can't set up on this thing. They're going to switch. On the switch, you pop a Nasty Plot. What Nasty Plot does is it stimulates their brain by thinking bad thoughts, because it's a dark type, remember. And it sharply, which is going to be a ×2 boost with special attack. So now, its pretty insignificant special attack stat is about as strong, actually it's a little bit stronger, than like a Mewtwo. Like Persian becomes an absolute like monster, and you're gonna start one-shotting things with Dark Pulse. The main reason I have Thunderbolt here is pretty much just coverage. Let's talk about what Dark Pulse hits. Let's talk about what Dark Pulse doesn't hit, actually. Dark Pulse doesn't hit Mega Gyarados very well. Dark Pulse doesn't hit Dark types very well. Dark Pulse doesn't hit fighting types very well, and let's think of most of those Pokemon, they either take neutral damage from Thunderbolt or super effective damage from Thunderbolt. So you can come out against Gyarados, you're faster than Gyarados, you can pop those Thunderbolts in its face. Aerodactyl, Thunderbolt it right in its face. It's pretty good. You're not going to get KOs unless they've already been weakened or unless Gyarados doesn't Mega Evolve. But, you know, this is really good. And, like, what is Mega Gyarados doing to you? Is it going to Waterfall you? First of all, you're faster. You could two-shot it. You have what you need to succeed. This is a very niche Pokemon. This is what I really like about this format. Like, if we go back and look at our team, like, the first couple Pokemon with Beedrill, Aerodactyl, those are pretty standard. Jolteon fits a really niche role, but it's a standard Pokemon, I would say. Primeape is just random, but it fits exactly what we need here. Persian's also another Pokemon that can U-turn. Again, we have 5 Pokemon that can be leads. Like, Jolteon, good lead. Beedrill, good lead. Aerodactyl, probably what most people would expect to be lead. Primeape can U-turn very fast, good lead. Can taunt. Like, we have taunt, taunt, taunt. All of these Pokemon can lead. 3 of them technically can use U-turn. Like, really, really good stuff. Like, this is a really aggressive team. If you want to go, like, really hit fast and hit hard and play a really methodical control game, like, this is the team to do it. And Persian, it fits a really weird spot, but I think it's really, really good. Like, you can switch, and like, so let's say I have Beedrill, or let's say I have whatever. I'm like, man, I don't want to eat this Psychic from this Mega Mewtwo Y, or this Mega Alakazam. Hard switch into Persian, what is Mega Alakazam going to do to this thing? I'm like actually curious. Do you guys have any idea? It doesn't really do anything. You just two-shot it back with Dark Pulse. It's pretty easy. And if he's going to switch, remember, if you got Rocks up, you're totally fine. If they're switching, you're winning. Like, you're setting up Nasty Plots, you're just going to sweep them out. So, Persian's really, really good. I think this team's amazing. Like, let's talk about some weaknesses we have now. We've now shown a couple weaknesses to Fairy here with Fighting and Dark, but there's not that many Fairy types. And let's talk about the Fairy types, like Clefable. We have, like, a Mega Beedrill to take it out. Let's talk about Ninetales. Like, we have rocks on rocks on rocks to take that thing out. Jolteon outspeeds. Beedrill has that poison jab. So, like, most fairy types, you may be thinking, like, you got a couple weaknesses to fairy. I don't think it's that big a deal. I think the last thing we want to do to grind this team together is we want to add a little bit more speed control. We want to add a little bit more revenge KO. We want to add a little bit more defensive typing, but with speed that we need to succeed. You guys have probably, I've already assumed who I'm going to throw in here. I think it's going to be my boy Starmie. Starmie completely just completes this team. Look at this. Water is such a good defensive typing. You know, it nullifies our weaknesses to, like, fire on a couple Pokemon. Also, Starmie has that psychic resistance because it's a psychic type. So let's say Persian goes down early, or, like, I don't really want to show Persian. You know, I can bring in Starmie to block psychic attacks. Just a really, really good Pokemon. Uses psychic and water for offensive and defensive typing. It's so fast, And note that I actually like to use a Modest Starmie. I've talked about this a bunch of times. I don't actually think you need to go Timid, because Modest gives you a lot of KO potential after Rocks damage on a lot of Pokemon, like Venusaur, for example. After Rocks damage, Psychic is going to one-shot. This also has the Thunder Wave. So this is why we're using Starmie over something like Aerodactyl. It doesn't take Starmie over something like Gyarados. It doesn't take super effective damage from Stealth Rocks. Very standard. I also think Starmie's a little bit better than something like Gengar, because remember, our team already has like a couple pretty big weaknesses to ground attacks. Starmie takes neutral damage from ground attacks. If you have like a screen up, they're not going to be able to do anything. And also Starmie really punishes the things that use those ground attacks, because it's a water type. You just go for the Scalds. Note that I have Scald and Thunder Wave. You may think that I should go Surf here, but actually I think Scald's better. You just choose if you want a Thunder Wave. Also, Starmie's a really good Pokemon exclusively versus like Mewtwo. It's super good against Mewtwo. It's good against things like Dragonite, good against things that are Poison type. It's not that great against Grass types. But, you know, think about most Grass types. They're weak against Psychic. So, like, most are Grass Poison in this game. So, Venusaur coming to mind. Parasect's pretty good against Starmie, but again, like, we have a whole board of Pokemon that absolutely just body Parasect. So, this is the team, guys. This is the team. Hopefully, you guys like it. I'm going to try to do at least one brand new team building video every single week. So, guys, if you guys want to see me use really cool Pokemon, if there's something that you want me to build around, and I can build around pretty much any Pokemon, leave a comment below. What do you want to see me build around? I think this team is really cool. Hopefully you guys can hit the ladder with it, and if you guys have any questions about it, leave those in the comments, or join the Discord and hit me up on there, guys. Thank you for watching. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you stayed till the end, add that in your comment, because I want to know who actually watched the whole thing. So, guys, thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.